Good evening, everyone. My name is Liao Peng. It's my pleasure here to present my research to you. My research topic is revenue management, bundling, competing in size and channel. My chief supervisor is Dr. Ye Hanqin, and my co-supervisor is Dr. Jiang Li. Here I also would like to thank Dr. Wang, and Dr. Zheng. In this talk, I will first introduce the revenue management, and then I will talk about the first project, the dynamic mix bundling with limited inventory. Then I will talk about the product size and price competition. Finally, I will conclude the talk with future research. In short, the revenue management is about selling the right type of product to the right consumer at the right time. There are three basic controls: price-based control, quantity-based control, and structural control. For the price-based control, one of the most often used control is dynamic pricing. And in the airline industry, the airlines often mark down the price at the early stage to clear the inventory, then mark up the price at the end stage of the selling to obtain higher revenue. The airlines also like to price the flights based on the consumer's purchase behavior. For example, the airlines would like to price the weekend flights low because the weekend travelers usually travel for fun, while they would price the weekday flights high because the weekday travelers often travel for business. They are not so sensitive to price. In the hotel industry, quantity-based control is widely used. For example, here the hotel process their demand through the Elon's e-booking system, and the hotel can estimate the future demand and decide whether to accept or reject demand request. Structural controls are also widely used. It mainly controls product characters such as assortment, product type. For example, the YouTube.com would often have several kinds of advertisement. YouTube.com has long advertisement and short advertisement. Usually, long advertisements are skippable, while the short advertisements are long skippable. YouTube.com designs the advertisement formats to optimize its revenue with limited advertisement space. Then I will talk about the dynamic mix bundling with limited inventory. Mixed bundling is a selling method by offering a product line that consists of individual components and a package of these components. And the components, the bundle's price should be lower than the sum of the components' price. And the mixed bundling are now increasingly popular. More and more consumers would travel with the bundle products. For the supplier, the bundling can also help them to increase their transaction, increase their revenue per transaction. But until now, to our knowledge, there is no virtual bundling selling method. For example, what is the best time to promote a package and how much dynamic pricing can improve the revenue. Since the structure is a network revenue management problem, so the structural properties may not be so tractable, and the curse of dimension may impede us from optimizing it easily. To give a controlling method, we formulate a model to test. We assume that a monopoly supplier initially has Ka units of component A and Kb units of component B, which are imperishable, and the consumers have three streams. There are component A consumer, component B, and component AB consumers. Here we assume that they are independent. Later we will discuss the interaction between them. We assume that the selling horizon is divided into T periods, and each period is so short that at most one customer arrives. Over a period T, customers from the three segments A, B, and AB arrive with rates of lambda A, lambda B, and lambda AB. Firstly, we also assume that the consumers purchase one product each time. Here we define the R as the incidence matrix, which is the consumption of the resource, which can be seen as the consumption of the product, and we use Xi to denote the type I customer's reservation price for product I. We assume that Xi follows the distribution of Fi, and the prices are represented by PA, PB, and PAB. We use the QA, QB to denote the remaining inventory of AB. Thus, we use T and Q to denote the state of the system. And with above assumptions, we can use UTQ to denote the optimal control method. Here you can be quantity-based control, price-based control, and joint control. We will study all of the methods in this model. Thus, with value thus we can write the value function as following. And the first term is the first term of the value is the first term of the value is the revenue obtained this period, and the second term is the value function of the next period. Thus, the system transition can be shown as following, and there may be 4 possible transitions. And that is, the consumer may purchase A, B, or package A, B, or purchase nothing. Here we first study the quantity-based control. In the quantity-based control, we should first introduce one important value, that is the bid price. Bid price is the opportunity cost of a product, which can be which is the reduction of the value function when one unit of the product is sold. Thus, in the quantity-based control, the prices are fixed. So the control problem is to accept a request if and only if the corresponding price PI exceeds its current bid price. That is, the bid price, if the bid price is smaller than the retail price, then the supplier accepts the demand, otherwise reject the demand. We have the following structural properties. We will show the properties in figures to better elaborate it. Firstly, we show that the bid price of the package decreases with the components inventory level, and for the component, a given component bid price decreases with its own inventory level, while increases with its complementary with its complement inventory level. Although some of the properties can be found in the past literature, to our knowledge, we are the first one to write the properties in one revenue management setting. And with above structural properties, we have the following corollaries. corollaries. Firstly, the scarcity effect is stronger than the complementary effect, and that is if one if for example component B's bit price, takes the component B's bit price as an example. If both component A and component B inventory level increases, we will find that the bit price of component B still decrease. That is the meaning. The scarcity effect is stronger than the complementary effect, and the bit price of package decreases in time. But we cannot obtain the monotone property of the bit price in terms of time. And so we decompose the time cost of component. We denote the bit price or the scarcity and complementary effect of the time cost as following, and we give the condition at which time with which we can know when the scarcity effect is stronger than the when the scarcity effect is stronger than the complementary effect, the bit price of the component increases in time. Otherwise, the bit price of the component decreases in time. With above analysis, we have the optimal admission policy. Here we obtain the threshold value and the threshold time for the control. Here we can find that as the time moves, there is a larger propensity to accept the bundle. It's also easy to find that as the inventory of a certain component, as the inventory level of a certain component increases, we can find there is a larger propensity for that component to accept, while the complements to reject. We also study the price-based control. In the price-based control, the supplier decides the prices at each time. And we also study the joint control. That is, the supplier uses the quantity-based control to manage the components, while the price-based control to manage the component, the package. We find that the bit prices of the component products still hold in the PPC and JC. We also find the structural properties of the price under the environment of JC. Here we study also numerically study the benefits of dynamic pricing. We can find that the dynamic pricing can always improve the supplier's profit, and we can find the price-based control can improve the profit very much when the planning horizon is very long. Compared to the past literature, compared to the past literature, for example, we consider the time compared to the classical bundling pricing and in economics and marketing, and compared to the inventory management with bundling literature, we studied the relation between package and component, and compared to the network revenue management, we studied the mixed bundling case. And here we study the product size and price competition. For the product size decision is very vital to the competitiveness of the firms. Basically, the larger the product size, the higher the value the consumer can obtain. On the other hand, the competition can also impact the firm's decision. When more than one suppliers choose an identical product size, they compete on price. Otherwise, they differentiate their product size to compete vertically. For example, here are two flights in Hong Kong. The left one targeted on the small family, while the right one targeted on the large family. Intuitively, Hong Kong is very scarce for the land, but the developer still develops the large flight. Thus, it's very strange. So, our question is here: what what factors will impact the product size equilibrium? And to answer the question, we formulate the model to analyze it. We assume that a single product is sold by two identical suppliers, and each supplier has k units of the resource. And the two suppliers play a two-stage game, where in stage one, each supplier's product size policy is in stage one. Each supplier decides the product size. Here we use C to denote small product which consumes 1 unit of resource, and here we use B to denote the large product which consumes 2 units of the resource. And the sequence of this stage 1 can be either sequential or simultaneously. And in stage 2, the suppliers compete in price. We use VS to denote the value ratings. Here, VC is the value rating of the small product, which is 1, and VB is the value rating of large product, which is theta. Here, theta minus 1 is also regarded as the additional value obtained from the large product. Thus, if theta is between 1 and 2, it is our model is a sub-additive case. If theta is larger than 2, our model is a super-additive case. And we assume a consumer of type X is uniformly distributed in the interval 0 and 1. In the interval between 0 and 1, and its value for the product S is VSX. And whenever type X customer buys a product S from supplier I at the price PIS, her utility is UIS, which is the value of the product minus the price of the product. Firstly, we study the centralized system. We assume that only one supplier in the system, and the supplier can produce both large product and small product, and the large product's price is PB, and small product's price is PC. Here we can have that, and the high demand, the high-end consumer will purchase the large product, while the low-end consumers will purchase the small product. Firstly, we study the case that the supplier's objective is to maximize the social welfare. Thus, the objective function is as following. We also study the case that the supplier's objective is to maximize the profit. Thus, its objective function is as following. And we found that the optimal solution is as following. When the product is super additive, the optimal solution is always to produce large product. Otherwise, when the product is sub-additive, when the capacity is small, the optimal solution is to produce the small product. When the capacity is medium, the optimal solution is to produce both large and small product. While when the product is capacity is very large, the optimal solution is to sell the large product. And also, the profit maximizing solution has the similar similar solution. However, compared to the social welfare maximizing solution, the profit maximizing solution covers smaller market. Now we move to the competitive market. In this scenario, the competition has two stages. In the first stage, the suppliers compete on product size. It can be both sequential decision and the simultaneous decision. In stage 2, the suppliers compete on price. It is a simultaneous decision. And thus, in stage 2, the equilibrium may be as following. The equilibrium can be both suppliers sell the small product, and both suppliers sell the large product, or one supplier sells a small product while the other one sells a large product. Thus, we should study the sub-games first. When the two firms both sell the same product, it's an edgeverse Bertrand game. That is, the consumers choose the lowest price supplier, and each supplier can sell at most Ka over As units of products. The demand is that when the if the two firms price is the same, they share the demand. If the price are not the same, the lower price while in the sub game BC, the game is a vertical competition game. That is, the higher-end consumers will purchase the products of the large product firm, while the low-end consumers will purchase the small product from this firm, purchase the product from the small product firm. And thus we get the equilibrium of the games. In the sequential game, we find that when the product is super additive, the equilibrium is that both supplier will produce the large product when the capacity is small. Otherwise, one supplier, the leader will purchase the large product, while the follower will choose a small product. When the product is subadditive, the equilibrium is as following. When the capacity is very small, both suppliers will produce the small product. When the capacity is larger, the leader will switch to the follower will switch to the follower will switch to the follower will switch to the large product. When the capacity is get larger, the leader will switch to large product. As the capacity gets larger, the follower will choose a small product. In the simultaneous decision, the equilibrium is quite similar. However, in the simultaneous decision, the unique equilibrium may not necessarily exist. For example, in this case, the equilibrium has two large equilibria, and the revenue of the equilibrium BB is larger than the equilibrium CC. Thus, in this situation, there is potential for the coordination. Compared to the past literature, we show that our contribution is that when the capacity compared to the our contribution is that when the capacity is very large, the suppliers may not do not both sell the large product. To our different from past literature, our study also our model also studies product size design, but the capacity is fixed, and in our model we both study the vertical competition and price competition, and we give the optimal product size strategy in the game. In brief, we have studied the dynamic mix bundling with limited inventory, and the dynamic pricing with dual channel and straight stipulation, product size and price competition, and the dual channel system under commission override model. to fill the research gap and give management insights. In the future, we will consider the correlation and substitution between the components, and we will generalize the model to consider multiple bundle problem. We would like also to apply the dynamic pricing into the real world business. Thank you for listening.